There is no way you can say that I will be learning all of Figma, entirety of Figma, and then I'll come back and do some UX work. It doesn't happen like that. When I say come up with a product, it need not always be a full-fledged new product which is built right from scratch to go and solve certain problems. If a business can utilize and package that as a certain product and sell it to a lot of people, a UX designer or a product designer enabling these businesses to actually come up with these things which can be sellable is actually recommended. By no textbook can you actually go and learn all these things and say that I'm ready to be talking with a product manager, because actually I'll tell you the bigger problem. The problem is there are not enough people who can actually do this. There are a lot of people who will simply do what a product manager asks them to do. This is the problem with industry.
Okay, so the main idea of this project was to identify the problems. And for the prototype stage, we'll have to suggest a solution as well. So I wanted to know if the solution has to be a product, because from a business perspective, you will need to have a product in order to give it to the clients. But then what if, just by adjusting the position of the, of a certain thing, the user's problem gets solved. So from a design perspective, it's solving the problem, but it's not product.
Yeah. I totally get your point. So ideally, or let me rephrase your question for people so that they'll understand what you're trying to say. So what Supriya is trying to say is certain solutions which, as I'm doing my design thinking project, I have identified some problems. After interviewing people, I've identified some problems. When I'm thinking of these solutions, what's happening is I could probably ask them to make some arrangements or adjustments in the way they are actually doing, or the way they're living or whatever, probably moving their desk around or something like that. Like any example in the way they can make some adjustments, and that itself can act as a solution for some of their problems right now. Can I just suggest them those solutions and finish the project, or should it really be a product? Because if I have to think from a business perspective, suggestions is more like giving a consultation to these individual people, but if it's a product, I can see that probably a business can come and do some business by going and selling that product, right? So that's the perspective which she is asking for. And firstly, this is a very, very good question, because thinking like this means you need to have certain level of maturity in terms of design thinking. So which is very good. Okay. So yes, I'll tell you, I'll set the highest standard, and then I'll tell you what is expected in this project and how you can go from here to there. Okay. So the highest standard, obviously, yes, as a UX designer, or we are big, the actual word is product designer, right? Though we popularly call it UX designer, all of us are actually becoming product designers. Okay. So which I've clarified many times, but I'll talk about it separately. So as product designers, yes, usually the primary goal is to come up with a product, right? Or when I say come up with a product, it need not always be a full-fledged new product which is built right from scratch to go and solve certain problems. It need not be that. When I say product, it can also mean a certain new feature of an existing product as well, right? Or certain improvements made on some of the things which have not been done properly as well. All of these things can also be called as a product, right? But yes, being a digital or physical product, that means, for example, so let's say there is this phone stand which I have, right? Now this is a physical product. It is helping me solve some problems, because whenever I'm on these calls and all these things, whenever I'm working, I would like my phone to be in a position where I'll be able to easily interact with it, because it's just standing like this, other than when it is actually horizontal position. So and also there is I can also charge my phone, because there is this hole and I can put the charger and all these things. So this actually is solving some of the problems which I am facing while I'm at my work desk, right? And because it is solving problems, and because this is something which a business can sell to me, right? So this becomes a product. This is a physical product. Okay. Now, in the same way, you also have digital products, right? All those apps, websites, or plugins, or any of those things which you are able to use through any of the digital interfaces, be it mobile interface or desktop interface or any other digital interface, if you are able to make something which will enable you to solve certain problems, if a business can utilize and package that as a certain product and sell it to a lot of people, I mean, a UX designer or a product designer enabling these businesses to actually come up with these things which can be sellable is actually recommended. Why? Because that's how you make money, right? Businesses will try to create impact, or businesses make money by going and selling these products. And that is why product designers are also required to build these products in such a way they are very useful to people and enabling businesses to actually go and make money using those things, right? When you impact the business of an actual company or a business, you also get valued in return. That's how you are paid, right? So this is the funda. Definitely, this is the funda. So always, as product designers, we aim. We usually think products. That's what people say, right? Are you thinking products? Is your thought process like product and product, right? In fact, it becomes so much like in a lot of our conversations, right? We think so much product that any problem we see, anything we see, we keep talking like this, like, oh, if only there was a product like this, or probably there is an idea which could actually be built as a product and there can be a revenue model around this and all this. This is how we start thinking, actually, right? So yes, the gold standard is building a product or a set of features for an existing product is also called as a product, right? Now, the other part, what happens is then, but it's not really easy to come up with these ideas for building these products, right? It is challenging. So what I tell here is, for in the current scheme of project, the problem is a lot of people do not even know that they have to start by understanding problems from people, right? The biggest unlearning people need to have first is, I am not the user, and I need to go beyond me thinking that it is a problem. I need to gather insights from people, and I need to understand what are actual problems people being faced, and then probably I should come up with these solutions for those problems. At least I said minimum is, at least if you do that, and if you're not able to come up with those ideas which can be potentially made as products which can be sold by companies, even if you can bring some solutions, but have a proof that these solutions are for the problems which I actually came from interviewing people, that itself will still prove that you are learning design thinking. You got it?
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So that is a minimum what I'm expecting people is. That's why I never restrict people saying that, hey, you know what, this is not a product. This is just an idea for making them go and readjust some things and all these things. I always say, yes, it is fine. No problem. That is what is you think is a solution for now. Or as long as you can prove it that it is because of all the design thinking which you have done, and this is a solution which you are presenting, that is good enough for me right now. Right? Okay. Now, what is that you guys should aim to do? Right? Because the moment I talk like this, all of your perfectionist brains will start and you'll be like, okay, so the ideal thing is to do is go and build a product. Tata, bye bye. 6 more weeks, I'll come back and then finish my design thinking project. That's a lot will happen, right? So let me tell you one thing. So there's also a related question. A lot of people are asking, should I make something new? What if it already exists in the market and all this? A lot of people also have this question, right? So let me tell you this way. You have to always challenge yourself to think more. That means if there is an existing product, let's say you found some problem and found a solution. Let's say there's the problem you identified is, it's very difficult to keep a track of your wallet. So whatever, let's say it's trying to solve that, and you're like, hey, there's a magnetic wallet which will stick to your phone. Fortunately, iPhones come with some magnet these days. So you're like, okay, let me create some wallet which has some magnet. When you go to the market, you will find one solution which is already existing. The wallet is sticking to my phone. It's a magnetic thing. So they've kept some magnet over here and they created one solution. So now this product already exists right now. Okay. Firstly, it is good that you also got the same idea. First of all, you have to reward yourself for it. Why? The way that you are able to think is matching someone who could successfully make a product and sell, which means you are going in the right direction. A lot of people miss this point. Okay, they're like, Actually, in fact, a lot of people, whenever you tell ideas, they're like, hey, it's already there in the market, what you're doing. They talk in this manner, but I never do that, because if you're able to come up with an idea which is also matching something which is already there in the market, that means you are in a very good direction. The only difference is you didn't execute, you didn't do it, and they have done it. That difference is there, but you're thinking in the right direction. Okay. Next, so there is no harm for you also to prototype and build something and then realizing that this product already exists in the market. There's no harm. You can also present that. But then the point is about challenging yourself more. Okay, now this already exists. Let me look at this product. This, what problems is it trying to solve? Is it solving all the problems? It's not solving all the problems. Not all is a wrong word. Is it solving the problems in an impactful manner the way I've identified it? If not, what can be better? Right? Is there a better version of this which I can do? You have to always challenge yourself, right? Because you present this to me, it proves one thing about you is, yes, you are going in the right direction. You identified right problems and ultimately you found some solution which is matching it. Good. You present a better version of this to me, challenging yourself from the problems you have identified. It tells more about you. That's it. Right? It even challenges you more to go deeper and understand your insights much deeper. Okay, probably I'm not understanding my problems enough. Let's all of you should ask this question to yourself. Okay, the solution is already there. Okay, what do I do? What do you do is you go deeper into your defined stage. That's why your defined stage is very, 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 very important. Your interviews can go like, you'll make mistakes, you will keep coming back and all these things. But define is where we usually make the beginner mistake of just quickly going forward and not really understanding the problems deeper. Existing products will challenge you that. Go back to your drawing board, or look at the notes of what you have done in your interviews and see and get more details about what you can define from your problem. You define more problems, you'll be able to get better ideas and probably you'll be able to make a better version of the same product. Right? So yeah, in the crux, what I'm trying to say is the gold standard is obviously making products, right? The least you can do is definitely give some suggestions, but definitely whatever solutions you're giving should be backwards coming from whatever interviews and problems you have defined. But always challenge yourself to be at the next level. What new can I do? Right? That's the crux of the whole thing which I'm telling. Okay. Got it?
Yes, thank you.
Yes, Patul. So you had some question about after looking at Kavya's resume and all these things, some question you were asking, right? So if you can talk about that and ask the question again.
So basically that question came because currently I am working, but I want to switch to a UX role or a product manager role in future. And I also work with the product managers closely in my company as well.
Okay.
So they have some technical skills. They know basic of they know a lot of Figma, Miro, and other softwares that we use. And being from a commerce background, I do not have that much knowledge, or I do not have that much interest as well in the technical side.
Okay.
But I wish to know, because when you have a conversation with other product managers and technical coders and everyone, so you need to be there with some basic knowledge to understand what they are talking, and then you also need to consider that while making a product as well, or if you're working on an app, you need to know what is possible and what is not possible.
Correct.
And in interviews as well, they ask about your technical background or the technical knowledge, or basic skills which then in the company can be developed.
Yeah.
So that was my first question, like what should I look into to gain some technical knowledge, or should I focus on some particular softwares which will help me in future and getting my next internship or job? So that was my first basic question.
Yeah, sure. It's not a basic question, it's a very good question. Okay, so let me just try to summarize and understand what you're trying to say, and then you add on if I've not got you right. Okay, so what you're trying to say is to be able to interact with a lot of stakeholders, be it business stakeholders, broad stakeholders, tech stakeholders, when you are working. probably there is a need for me to have better knowledge, or in your words, you're calling it technical knowledge, to be able to communicate with these people better. So what should I do to grow in this direction? Yeah, or that's what you're asking me, but your actual concern is, will I ever get to know all these things? Or
Right. Because
yeah.
I start reading, but it's, just half knowledge. I'm not completely there
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah. So, and also a part of the question is probably any recommendation of learning some tools or some languages or something which I can do to become better in something like this, right? So, yeah. So let me first clarify something. Then I'll answer your actual question. The first thing is, there is no way that you'll be able to be in a very good situation to interact very well with all these stakeholders, right? Be it tech stakeholders, business stakeholders, or product stakeholders. Very well, there is no way in the starting, right? For you to be able to interact with all these people at their level. It doesn't happen, right? It only comes by going and working and spending enough number of years interacting and talking with these people in different contexts. Why? I'll tell you the reason why it takes time. Because by no textbook can you actually go and learn all these things and say that I'm ready to be talking with a product manager. Because a product manager, or okay, even taking only a product manager's job or what they do or the context they have is totally dependent on the type of products they have already worked in, or the company, the kind of product your company is already building right now. It is very specific and very different for multiple companies or multiple product managers which are working in multiple companies, right? Uh, so since these things are very, very different, by textbook or by doing something, there is no way that we already know how to interact with these kind of people. That is one thing, right? Secondly, you're not aiming to become a product manager, right? Are you aiming to become a product manager by any chance
Yeah,
right now?
in future. No, no, not right now, but yeah, that's my goal.
You have to be clear about that. At least get the clarity at some point of time. Either you want to become a product manager or a product designer, because this is not like a stepping stone. Oh, first I'll become a product designer and then I'll become a product manager. A product manager is not sitting above a product designer. Probably that's a misconception, because in many places where designers report to product managers because they have small, smaller teams. The product manager owns a lot of stuff in the product, so probably that misconception is there. But a product designer or a product manager, there is no hierarchy that a product manager is sitting above these people. Because okay, if that logic is true, then even tech teams, right, people who are coding, they should also be
Mhm.
working and reporting to product managers, but that's not how it works. So they
Right.
have their own teams. So this misconception is there because of how some of the startups structure their teams. But what the skill sets which are required for becoming a product manager versus being a product designer, the skill sets are very different. The debates you will be having are also very different. Okay, I'll come back to your actual question. I know I'm deviating, but this is very important to understand. See, the transition is possible. You have to transition from a product designer to a product manager if at all you want to become, right? But here, as a product designer or a UX designer, you are always guarding the user more than anything else. As a product manager, you are guarding the business more than anything else. That's why there is a huge difference. Obviously, the product manager also care about the users. They cannot build products which are not user centric or customer centric, nor the product designer can build products which don't make sense to the business. That's not what I'm saying. But given a meeting, product designer guards the users, product manager is guarding the business. This healthy conversation is what builds balanced products, right? So that should be very clear for anyone. In many cases, product designers earn much more than product managers. I don't even know why they want to go and do this transition. So unless you genuinely feel that no, whatever I see as a product manager is something which I can relate to, right? Then definitely you should go and you will definitely do well as a product manager as well. And obviously learning UX will also help you because you'll be interacting more with UX designers and product designers as well, right? If it is for you, definitely you should go. But if at all there's a slightest thing that, oh, no, product designer for now, product manager later because that pays more or whatever, those things are not right. That is what I'm trying to clear.
So in some companies that I have seen and my friends are working, so there is no distinction like this
Yeah.
in product managers. They work like they do all the work.
That's what.
I was
So there
thinking
are,
on that
it
perspective.
depends on the UX maturity of the company as well, because the companies also need to understand what exactly can a UX designer do or a product designer can do, versus what a product manager can do, because companies obviously will focus on business, right? Now, product managers are the people who are guarding the business. So it is very natural for companies to first go and focus on product managers, especially when they are getting started. But as the UX maturity of the company keeps increasing, the way this will be structured will drastically change. So the design stakeholders, product stakeholders, and tech stakeholders, all these stakeholders report to their respective heads, and all of them will be reporting to the CEO, right? And yeah, as I told, I know many UX mature companies who pay much more than much more to product designers than you know product managers. Again, I'm not saying pay or anything should be the only deciding factor for you. If you fit better to the role of a product manager, if you are that person, then you should probably definitely pursue that. But if you fit better for becoming a product designer or a UX designer, you should probably stick to this, because you will whatever works for you is where you can actually create value and get valued also. Then paisa will follow. Okay. Now, coming back, the next thing what I have to clear is learning tools. Okay. So I've always been vocal about this, and I've always, right from the workshop or every time I talk about this, I always tell this that um, tools are supposed to be learned, quite naturally, right? There is, if there is a requirement for you to, let us say, you're trying to brainstorm, you you probably need something to quickly go and jot on your points and then organize your points, and then have multiple people come to the same place, and all of you gather and divide this. Let's say you want to do all this thing, you'll probably go and look for a tool which can enable you to do this, right? A popular tool here is Miro. Now FigJam has taken over most of these cases. FigJam has built an amazing product now, right? So a lot of people, including at my workplace, we are all using FigJam now for any of these brainstorming or any of these things. So there is nothing about learning Miro or learning FigJam. There's literally nothing to learn, right? Obviously, you can say, hey, how do I create a note in FigJam or Miro? How do I draw a line in Miro and all? But that's not how these tools are anyway built. First comes the use case. What do you want to do? Do you want to brainstorm? Okay, no problem. This is naturally what you would do when you brainstorm on a whiteboard. We have created a virtual version of this. So tool becomes naturally, like, whatever features you want automatically come over there. Whether if they are there, you will find them. If they are not there, probably you'll wait for the next version for them to be built. Okay. So that is with these tools, like, because you've kept it in your question, that is what I'm trying to say, Miro and this kind of tools. But then comes to tools like Figma and Adobe XD, right? Now, though philosophically the thing is same, Miro, Figma or Adobe XD, whatever tool you want to choose. First of all, it doesn't matter which tool you choose. I popularly use Figma because that's what I got used to, and Figma has been doing pretty well in providing the features which I need and making it very quickly, and it makes my work very fast. Okay, it's also very easy to build systems and maintain and use systems in Figma. So coming back to being good in a tool like Figma, firstly, being good in Figma doesn't make one a product manager or a product designer or UX designer. All of you know that, seen my reels as well. Like being able to use a knife doesn't make you a surgeon. Being a good surgeon will help you understand how to use a knife properly and get value out of it, right? So being a product designer first, being understanding how to solve problems for users first, and to enable solving those problems to go and prototype and then to test with users, you are learning a tool for doing it. And not because you have learned a tool, you can call yourself a product designer. All of you know about this anyway, right? So the point about naturally learning a tool to enable yourself to solve problems better stays true, whether it is FigJam, Miro, or Figma, or any of these tools, right? Just that the learning curve for a tool like Figma is a little higher because it's a prototyping tool. Prototyping is a little difficult. Prototyping, it's meaning being able to build screens which almost represent your end products. That's what I mean by prototyping, right? Not just the animated part of prototyping is what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about both making those screens, building for all the interactions, be it animated or static, right? So it is a little difficult. It takes a bigger learning curve, but in no way that should really dictate your ability to solve problems. Okay. Now, as a product designer, that is mandatory. You will have to go and improve your prototyping skills, right? So if there is a problem you're trying to solve, then you can't just say that, hey, I've done research about it and I probably think these are the solutions for the users. And there is no way you can say I'm done with it. You will obviously have to build those prototypes and screens and go and test with people. That is when you can actually call yourself a UX designer. That is clear, right? So you will have to learn these tools if at all you're, you have to learn these tools in the non-textbook manner. That means whatever the need come by, you learn those things which are relevant for you to go and make those screens or build those prototypes at that particular point of time, and go and keep going forward with it, right? There is no way you can say that I will learning all of Figma, entirety of Figma, and then I'll come back and do some UX work. It doesn't happen like that, right? So anyway, coming back to the point. So if you are a product designer, it is anyway mandatory for you to know some tool for you which enables you to go and prototype it. There is no bypassing this. Okay. So you must learn it. Okay. Will it help you interact better with product managers? Obviously, because only it is a product designer skill or a UX designer skill to be able to prototype well, because a product manager will not be able to do that. Okay. Because they will not know anything about, it depends on the individual person, but ideally a product manager should be very good in documenting stuff, should be very good in writing stuff, thinking about stuff, pulling secondary data, conducting getting a lot of product metrics and all these things. This is what a product manager is expected to be good at, right? Now, probably a product manager can go and understand Figma and navigate through it, but a product manager's core skill is not about sitting and making mocks in Figma, right? So that is definitely the expectation from a product designer. So if you want to discuss, if you want to have better conversations with product managers in your company, obviously you should be very good at your prototyping skills, because let's say both of you have some clashing ideas. He says, hey, business wise, this is the idea, what we want to do. Tech cannot build this feature. So let's say trying to build some filters for your e-commerce product, for example, random example I'm giving. And they say, hey, you know what, this dependent filters cannot be built by the tech team. That dependent filters in the sense, you select one filter and the remaining filters are dependent on what you select on this filter. But the point is, the product manager says tech cannot build this feature yet, and business is not willing to invest extra money on getting resources to build this, is what they're saying. And then you are like, no. The last research which I have conducted, it is very clear that people are not able to filter these results. And I see there will be a significant increase in the way people will be able to select and go ahead with their journeys, if at all they have better filtering over here. This is the proof I have both from my secondary research and primary research. And that's what you will bring in. Now, what they'll say is, no, all this is fine, but I'm not sure if it will work. Then the only card you have, strong card which you can play with them, is obviously building a prototype for it, right? You'll build that filters because it's easier for you to build those filters rather than tech coming and implementing and coding those filters, right? So you'll go and build those filters, 3 versions of it, right? You'll go onto the ground, do quick usability tests, and get and see what's really happening by you providing some features in these filters. Show those results, and when you talk to these product managers and business, they obviously have to give value to you, because they can clearly see that these results will come, and you're also bringing usability testing insights backwards by going and working, and they can also see how it works on your prototypes. They can also you also bringing how they have tested well in your usability studies. So hands down, you can really prove to them that, hey, you know what, this is what we have to go ahead with. This is literally my job. Actually, this is exactly what I do, right? This is the thing. I guard the users by going and doing my work and proving to them that this is what is going to work, and this is how business will go forward, right? So I feel your question is largely answered. Don't just focus on learning the tools. That's not what I'm trying to say. You have to learn the tools. There is no other way, right? You have to use Figma or what any other prototyping tool, right? The point is different. The point is, how is it that you are applying the design thinking process, going and understanding users, defining their problems, going and presenting your prototypes of how the problem can be solved, and bringing user insights, usability testing insights, to tell a strong point to the business or the product manager that this is what will probably work. Are you reducing the risk of their gamble of investment? If you are doing this, obviously your value in the company will go multifold. Like this, frankly speaking, this is what I exactly did in multiple places when I started in smaller startups as well. It gave me like 2x boosts to my career by doing this exact thing. Because I actually tell you the bigger problem. The problem is there are not enough people who can actually do this. There are a lot of people who will simply do what a product manager asks them to do. This is the problem with industry. The reason why companies are putting product managers above these designers and the pays and all are different is not because of the company thinking that designers are paid this much and product managers are paid this much. It's not because of that. It's because of lack of designers who can actually do this. If you are a good designer who can actually prove to the company that I can save your money by bringing the most customer centric things and giving you the best impact, they will value more than the product managers over there. Let me tell you, because you are bringing them insights about what actually works. This is more valuable. It requires those people. My initiative about this whole mastery program and all this is to build this class of people. You got this? So, yeah. So this gives the whole perspective of this whole thing.